What's going on, golf addicts? DB here with the Tour Junkies. Pat Perry with me. It is the American Express 2021 podcast from Pat. Where are we from this week? Where are we?
We are in La Quinta, California.
La Quinta. Very, very nice.
Did you want me to say La Quinta?
I did. That's where we first started almost 6 years ago, when Pat said we're breaking down the La Quinta course.
Mm-hmm.
So nope, it's La Quinta. We're in California. It's going to be a lovely golf tournament. We're pumped. We're going to have a great show for you tonight. Kevin Na takes down last week's Sony Open at around 70-1. Kevin Na comes out of nowhere, does his thing. He gets hot. That's what he does. Kevin Na he gets hot and does stuff. He just wrecks stuff. We had none of Kevin Na. I will say that. Now, Ben, props to Chalk Bomb Ben, did have Kevin Na in his video on YouTube that started last week. You're going to want to check that out again. It's about a 6-7 minute video. It's super easy. He gave you 3 top 20 plays. One of them was Kevin Na. The other was Charles Howell. Those both hit. And then he gave you 2 head-to-head matchups that he really liked. That one hit as well. So props to him. Props to Ben, too, for the Chalk Bomb. Abraham Answer missed the cut. So if you're not getting the Chalk Bomb in your email inbox every Wednesday, I don't know what you're doing there. Go to tourjunkies.com, bottom right hand of any page to subscribe to the Chalk Bomb email. I got to give a shout out to our Listener League winner from last week. We do a private Golby's Nut Hut member Listener League every single week on DraftKings. And Peter, I believe it's pronounced Jonsson there, Pat. Peter Jonsson. I don't know if you know.
How do you even know that? How did you know
I don't know that, but Peter is from somewhere not here, not in the United States. I'm pretty sure he's in the Netherlands somewhere. Because his name Peter is Petur, and his last name is Jonsson. Anytime I see 2 S's in a name, I usually go to the Netherlands there.
You change the J to a Y. Is that what you do?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's pretty standard.
A Y sound, I guess.
So Peter is a Nut Hut member. He's an annual Nut Hut member. We thank you for that, Peter. He won at 609.5 DraftKings points. Props to him. You, Peter, will be in the finals in the summer for a chance to win a round trip experience to Augusta to play golf with me and Pat at Champions Retreat Golf Course. If you're not in on that, you need to get in on it now.
Wait a second. Round trip.
Yeah.
Round trip.
We pay for them to get here.
Well, this guy, I love Peter, but it's going to be way more expensive to get him here round trip than some.
Yeah, that is true, Peter. If you win, I need you to know you might have to pony up a little something to get you here from the Netherlands or wherever it is you're from. But maybe he moved here. I don't know. Anyway, it's going to be a great show. We're excited. Props to him. Also, my monkey knife fight prop hit again. This is 2 weeks in a row, 2-0, and they're hitting easily. If you guys are, secret here, by the way, big time secret. When that article comes out on Wednesday, don't hesitate. Just tail it, bet it, because both weeks now, monkey knife fight, the line has moved within 2 to 3 hours of me posting the article. So basically, Pat, I'm now a line mover is what everybody needs to know.
Yeah. I mean, it's good stuff though. And you know what, on top of that, we've got some sharp listeners and some football too. So if you go into the Nut Hut, you get into the football chat, we've hit a few with some of the football plays, but yeah, your golf ones have been on point. I got to go back to Kevin Na real quick. Let's just not gloss over that victory. I mean, what an amazing
share what you shared with me earlier today.
All right, here's one of the things we talk about on the show a good bit. John Tillery, coach for Ricky Fowler, Adam Long, who a lot of people might like in the field this week, and a few others. When we interviewed him, he talked about strokes gained home life, okay? So Kevin Na did an interview after the round. This wasn't the interview that they did right after he won on Golf Channel. This was actually with PGA Tour, XM Radio, or whatever. But he talked about, the one thing he mentioned with why he played so well was basically had nothing to do with anything with his game, with his putting, which was tremendous. Nothing. He didn't change anything. It was all about his home life. He just talked about how happy he is right now, how content he is with his life, and he's just loving life, and that's why he won. Strokes gained home life, strikes again, and he was walking in putts left and right. Yeah, I'm a fan of Kevin Na. I wouldn't mind seeing Kevin Na play on the Ryder Cup team.
I like Kevin.
Can you imagine him on the Ryder Cup team walking in putts? I mean,
he's really swaggy. I hate his shirts with the little devil logo I hate that logo, but he's pretty swaggy. I was looking back at some older photos of Kevin Na and his lovely bride, and the photo of them on the green this past Sunday after he won. I'm pretty sure his wife got some upgrades. I'm just saying, you might want to. Pretty sure maybe his last paycheck went to that. So that strokes gained home life, plays into that as well.
So,
I think.
So he's happy about that also.
Last week we had listener Marcus call in, and his internet was a total disaster, and it really wrecked our entire show, but with some lag. But that's neither here nor there. We're working through some details here. We're trying to get better. We've sent Marcus like a money order to try to pay for improved internet speed this month to see if we can get him back on. But, he talked about how he hated stats. And, Kevin Na comes out in the interview and he agrees with Marcus, which is kind of nuts. Marcus is Crazy Marcus in the Nut Hut. That's his name. So maybe Crazy Kevin, Crazy Marcus are onto something. I don't know. We'll see. But it's a good week. It was a really good week. I want to talk about this week because we got to change up. Oh, by the way, speaking of change up, Pat, my new background. Do you like my new background?
Yeah, I think it looks good. It's
everybody in the chat on YouTube is saying it's way more touty. Everybody's saying it's way more touty.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, the jet was, it was about time for some change from the jet. Maybe I'll get out of the wine cellar one of these days, but I like being in the cellar.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I sold the jet, made a small fortune on it, but see, Josh Kistler, that thing saying it's touty. It is a little touty. I don't mind it. I actually don't mind it. Maybe my picks will be better. Okay, let's get into the courses. Pat, we have one of these multi-course sites, which I know you love, but we did get rid of, like we said at the top of the show, we got rid of La Quinta or La Quinta. That course is gone. The easier course, the Birdie Fest golf course, is gone. We're here at PGA West in the desert of California. Pat, tell us what we need to know about the course and what stats, if any, you're even looking at this week.
Yeah, so we, like you said, we got 2 courses instead of 3 this week. We have 56 players in the field. T65 and ties will make the cut. Now, another difference here, other than the courses, is they used to play for 3 days and then do a cut after the 3rd day and play the final round, with this being a pro-am and all that kind of stuff. Well, they took all of that out this year, so we're not going to have any of that. We're just going to be on the 2 courses this week, and that is the PGA West Stadium course and the Nicklaus course. Now, the Stadium course, which is the main course, so they'll play each course on Thursday and Friday. And then when they make the cut, if they make the cut, hopefully all my players make the cut, they'll be playing the Stadium course on the weekend, which is the much tougher course. It is a Pete Dye design. It is a par 72 playing just over 7,100 yards. You got 4 par 5s on this course. All of them are, between, right around 550 yards, nothing terribly long, but they can play pretty difficult. But I do think scoring on the par 5s on both of these courses is going to be key this week. You got Bermuda grass, tee to green. I'm going to talk about the Bermuda in a little bit. There's been a few changes from what we hear. As far as the Nicklaus course, which is the easier of the 2, it is also a par 72, also just over 7,100 yards, 4 par 5s on this course. Definitely got to score on those. And, I think pretty much any player can win this week. We've seen guys, like a John Rahm, a stud win. And then the last 2 years, we've seen Adam Long and Andrew Landry. Adam Long was 600-1 when he won. Andrew Landry, I believe, was around like 200-1. So this might be another long shot week. We'll see.
Long had missed his previous, I want to say 2 or 3 cuts. Landry had missed his previous 5 cuts before winning.
Yeah, 5. So, I think that's interesting. We have heard that they've made a few changes to the greens here, made a few of them a lot larger for some added pin positions. Also, we've heard they changed out the Bermuda grass and put in a little bit different version. They put in some Tiff Eagle in there. And so I think they'll roll a little more true to Bermuda this year than maybe they have in the past, is the way I'm thinking right now. Now, this is, again, when you look at a course like this with the Bermuda, and sometimes they overseed it and whatever, that could change throughout the week. But right now, that's what I'm seeing. As far as stats, Definitely looking at approach. I mentioned par 5 scoring. I think opportunities gained is another stat, one that's proprietary to Fantasy National that I love this week. So there you go. That's the quick rundown.
When you look at the winners, I like to look at the scoring and all that kind of stuff. You look at the winners, 26 under, 26 under, 22 under, 20 under, 25 under, 22 under, 28 under over the last few years. I don't think we're going to see scores quite that good this year as La Quinta is not in the rotation. Obviously, it was the easier course, but I still think we could crack 20 under here. This is the strongest field rated by the World Golf Ranking at this tournament since 2005. So strongest field, better players, obviously lower scores. So I see maybe 20 getting there again. The weather looks pretty nice, which we also had last year when Landry won at 26 under. The weather looks pretty okay. I think there might be a little rain coming on the weekend, but we can obviously pay more attention to that. I like to look at guys who hold the course record. Abraham Answer and Sam Burns hold the 18-hole course record at the Stadium course with 63s, each of them. Patrick Reed set the tournament record here back in 2014 when he shot 28 under. So just looking at that style of guy who, the names mentioned in the past winners, the course record holders, it definitely does. It definitely does fit just about anybody, really. And what we've seen is 3 of the last 10 winners did not even play the week before. So 3 of the last 10 winners didn't play the week before, and 3 of the last 10 missed the cut the week before when they did play. So, and only 2 out of the last 10 winners finished top 30 or better in the previous start. So this is really a grab bag tournament. This is like, listen, a guy could come in here in form with a great record. A guy could come in here with absolute hot garbage form and no record at all and just be fantastic. So it's one of those grab bag events. I say in DFS, you leave money on the table, leave some cash on the table in big tournaments, and don't be afraid to bet some long shots. That's what I got to say. Don't be afraid to bet the long shots at all. This is going to be a fun event. It's a really fun event. I'm looking forward to it. We have a few of our friends caddying in this event. Gino Bonelli, Aaron Fleener, who else? Brett Swedberg. We got all our caddy friends back.
Love it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be exciting. I think it's going to be really exciting. We may even have, I don't know, is producer Sam, are we ready for our special guest? We're supposed to have a special guest tonight. Let's bring him in if we can. He is stranded in the airport. There he is. Gino Bonelli. Hey, buddy.
Look at that beautiful man.
Hey, guys. Can you hear me okay? I'm testing out ear pod bud things for the first time.
For the first time. Welcome to 2009, Gino.
Yeah,
hey.
I know. I had to do a test call with my wife before I connected with you guys to make sure it worked okay.
Fantastic, buddy. We appreciate the commitment to excellence here on the Tour Junkies podcast. You look like you're at an airport bar throwing back a few IPAs or something, huh, in Idaho?
Yeah, I just made the transition from beer to a cocktail of some sort. I'm not sure what it is, but it's quite good.
Ooh, that fancy copper mug. Love it, Gino. You ready to get back into action right here in 2021?
I am. I don't know if I remember how to do my job, though. It's been a while. I'm a little nervous.
What have you been doing during all the break?
Man, I remodeled the bathroom. I built my neighbor a chandelier is the wrong word, but a light fixture out of a wooden beam to go over her kitchen island. My wife was thrilled about that. It cost me like $150, and I didn't charge her.
Okay. The blanket ladders? Did you have any blanket ladders going
out? It was
out?
very much along the same lines of the blanket ladder, but I added some electricity kind of thing to. I stepped up my game a little bit. So I'm evolving.
Wow.
You sold some Christmas trees, didn't you? Didn't you sell some Christmas trees?
Yes, thank you for the reminder. Yeah, I sold 750 Christmas trees as a volunteer for my son's school.
F me running, man. You're like...
That was good. I had 4 left over. I actually only sold 746, and I hauled the other 4 to the tree recycling place, compost place.
Listen, we only have Gino for a few minutes, so if anybody watching live has questions for Gino, go ahead and toss them in the chat. We'll filter those and hit him up. But Gino, we're excited to see you, man. We're excited to see you in action. And
Yeah.
I mean, so this is late on Monday night. You're stuck in Idaho, trying to get over there to La Quinta, as Pat used to call it.
La Quinta. No, I actually made it to Salt Lake.
Okay.
I was delayed out of my hometown for about 3.5 hours, and then got here to Salt Lake, where I had a 5-hour layover before heading into Palm Springs this evening. Land about 11 p.m. So I would have a cocktail or two before my Uber picks me up from the airport there in Palm Springs.
Gino, how do you feel like your pacing is going right now during this layover? Do you feel like you're pacing yourself well, or are you ahead of yourself? Are you a little behind? I mean, how are you feeling?
Are you talking in the drinking department?
Yeah.
I'm on tour. I'm doing a really good job.
These guys are good
right now. Yeah, these guys are good. Yeah, no, I've been the other day, like 3 or 4 days ago, I didn't have a drink all day long. And I told my wife when we crawled into bed, I was like, I didn't have a drink today. I was like, it was weird. It might have been the only day in the last 6 weeks. That makes me feel like I have a problem, but I do control myself. I'm responsible.
Well, you are responsible. All right, how are you feeling? How are you feeling about the year? You're kicking it off this week. What are you thinking about for you and Joel?
Man, I feel really good about this year. I don't know about this week, truthfully, coming back, because I haven't seen Joel for so long. I don't really know what to expect. But
what will you guys do when you see each other? Are you gonna do you hug really hard, like bear hug? Do you match up your middle parts a little bit, or how does that work?
No, I think they'll probably be offset slightly, but there definitely will be an embrace, and it'll probably linger a little longer than it should. But yeah, and then we'll just catch up on everything that we've been doing for the last X amount of weeks, which I think are things that we have been doing are very similar things.
Okay. You think he's been oh yeah, that you I was gonna say, I don't think he's been selling 750 Christmas trees.
No, he definitely and I don't think he built any light fixtures for his neighbor either.
Now, we have a listener in the chat, Josh Kistler, wants to know what Joel's been doing during the extended break, but obviously all we do know is that he got beat by the foreplay guys.
He did. Man, I'm so disappointed in that, because I feel like he should have rolled them up. That's probably the worst round he's ever played at Mesa Country Club. I don't think I've ever seen him shoot worse than 65 there. But he has been playing golf, a lot of it for fun more so than out there grinding with his coach and whatnot. But I mean, that's my understanding. He could show up and shock me. He might have dropped 20 pounds and gained 10 miles an hour in club head speed. But
so you guys played there twice. I think you played there in 2017, 2018. Didn't do well. I'm letting you know. You guys didn't do great. You miscut both sides. I mean, do you remember anything about the golf courses, or what's your day going to look like tomorrow? All that?
Well, I heard the wind's supposed to blow 50 miles an hour tomorrow. So Joel told me tomorrow could be a wash, but regardless, I'm going to get up and go take my COVID test in the morning, head out there and try to do something productive, I suppose. I remember most of the holes, but I couldn't tell you which course is which.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. They kind of blurred together and not playing. La Quinta I probably remember the most, and obviously we're not playing that, so that doesn't do me any good. But so my first time, our rookie year caddying here, we got out there in the second round. I don't know if it was at the stadium course or where it was, but first hole, Joel doesn't really pack a yardage book, and I flipped mine open, and the yardage on the sprinkler head doesn't really match, but it's close. And I give Joel the number, and he actually had a book out, and he goes, I got something different. And maybe the only time he's ever checked the number. And I was like, I went off of this head. And he was like, why does my head say something different? And I flipped my book to the front cover. I had the wrong yardage book. I had it for the other golf course. And that's might be the maddest I've ever seen him. So we were joking about that yesterday. I texted him. I said, this should be a good week if I can manage to bring the correct yardage book.
Well, you got one less to keep up with,
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to keep both of them in my caddy bib this week. And if I did make a mistake, I can make a quick exchange.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What's going on with your golf game, man? You're quite the stick yourself.
Boy,
Are you? I've seen Ted Scott. Like Ted Scott's chasing all this speed. He's going to be out there with the long drive guys before it's
So
what are you doing?
I actually was texting with him the other day because I went up to the University of Idaho and got on their indoor facility, their TrackMan and whatnot. And I wanted to see how hard I could swing it and like actually get after it. And did some video work and stuff. I'm too army. Like my body doesn't turn as much as it should. I mean, for just arm swinging, I can move the club pretty well. But so I started working on some things, and oh boy, Gino Benelli, Q School 2022.
Okay. What's your hot tip?
I'm pretty army also.
Yeah.
You're also very shouldery, Pat. You're very shouldery as well.
I don't have a lot of lower body rotation, which isn't good. I don't feel like when you're trying to hit it far. But, I don't know.
I hear that.
But whatever. I'm a caddy. Who really cares, right?
Yeah. Are you excited to see Fleener and Swedberg? What are you guys going to do when you see each other? Because that could be different.
That might be a centered up hug.
Who you staying with?
I'm staying with Stoner, Dave Stone, who caddies for Bo Hogue.
So you're not even staying with Fleener or Swedberg?
No, neither of them invited me. I think Swedberg's actually staying with Ryan. And I don't know who's Fleener staying with this week, but Stoner texted me. He got a hotel room, and I Venmo'd him for my half. And then about a week ago, he refunded my amount and said I got us hooked up somewhere for free. And he sent me a picture of it yesterday. We are staying in a mansion right on one of the golf courses, and it's just he and I. And
dang,
it was $3.99, so that was nice.
Dude, that's killer. Look at you. Yeah. First event back, just high on the hog.
That could be a good sign for the year. I look for little things like that, and I think that could be a good one.
Yeah, I hope so. I just we got invited to play the Madison Club either tomorrow or Wednesday, and I texted Joel. I was like, I know it's probably not going to work with our schedule, but if you do want to get out there, I got a hookup for us. And he goes, let's play there Saturday or Sunday.
Nice. You'll be free, huh?
Yeah. Well, this is going to be kind of a long stretch, and we've got a new little baby at home, so I think any weekend that we may or may not have off, I don't anticipate it. Joel pretty much makes every cut always, but I probably will be jaunting back to Lewiston, Idaho if I do get the opportunity.
What's the schedule for the next couple weeks for y'all?
We're going 5 straight, starting.
5 straight?
Yeah, we're doing it.
Okay, so out of those 5, obviously your man could come up and hit any of those. But what's your favorite looking forward? 2, 4, and 5 are going to be dangerous. Dangerous in a good way.
Dangerous in a good way. 1 and 3. I don't think Scottsdale might be the worst golf course we play all year. I hate that place.
Why?
It's just boring, truthfully. Despite the 10,000 rowdy fans on every hole.
Not this year, but yeah.
It's true. The golf course itself is very forgettable. Every hole feels very similar. Like you got to carry a bunker at 290, which we carry it like 285, unless you found some speed in this offseason. And it's just it handcuffs the guys who were more average length, I feel like. And it's kind of a snooze fest as far as the golf course goes, for me anyway. And if you told me, Gino, what's hole 12 out there, I'd have to go, okay, start on a 1. Let's see, 1's this. And no, it's I don't know. Yeah. So that's Joel's never been really thrilled about that place, but he lives there, so he can't not play, I guess.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do it, but this week I don't know what to expect. Maybe a question mark. Week 3, home event, not a great golf course, but so 2, 4, and 5 are what I've got my sights set on. They're gonna be great weeks.
There we go. We have one more listener question we're going to take here in the chat. Now, I want to add something to this. Spazbit says, "Who are your favorite guys to play practice rounds with. Now, obviously, we know Fleener and Poston and then Swedberg and Ryan Moore. But outside of those guys, who do you like to pair up with?
You know what? You were just giving me a hard time for this a little bit ago. But so I've got two that stand out. Mark Hubbard is one of my favorites to play practice rounds with. That guy is hilarious. And
now Kyle Peters is on his bag. We love Kyle.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, great guy.
That's a new hire, little switcheroo there. So that I think that's going to be a really good fit. Hubbs is the man, and Adam Long. He and Julian Trudeau are two of my favorites. Love hanging out with those guys. Adam and Hubbs both are hilarious individuals, and they're really good, and usually get a fun game going. And
nice.
Always have a good time.
Well, you need to help us get those boys on the show. Can you look that up?
I have their phone numbers. I don't know if that go much further than that as far as getting them on a podcast. But,
okay.
See what I can do.
What who did Corey Connors pick up? Do you know?
I actually don't know. I've heard there's been a couple switcheroos that I don't know who's there. So
who are the other switcheroos you've seen?
I heard Andrew Putnam had somebody else working for him this last week, and his caddy Brandon Winton was one of my good friends too, and so I don't know what the deal is with him, and I didn't really want to text him and whatnot because I don't know, but yeah. So kind of not excited, but interested, I guess is the better word, to see what happened there.
Yeah. Well, Gino, we appreciate it, man. You keep knocking back that copper mug hitter you got right there, you handsome devil.
I think this might be my this probably should be my last one for this.
No,
big day tomorrow.
No, you're good.
My first day back to work tomorrow, so I better show up on time.
It's like first day of school, you just get hammered right before the first day of school.
Hey, you know what? I actually am going to go get new shoes before the practice round too. So
what are you getting? What kind of
I always go to the New Balance store.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
And they're pretty solid. A little spendy. Everybody knows how cheap I am.
Maybe you should wait till week 2 for that.
I know, but I don't really have any shoes. I couldn't find mine before I left the house today.
How long does a new pair of shoes last for you?
Oh yeah.
Probably longer than most. I'd like to get. Well, it depends on the weather conditions. If I am responsible about not wearing them in the rain, hopefully a couple years.
Wow. Okay, that's a long time.
But
yeah, that's longer than I thought.
I tend to forget my Gore-Tex shoes sometimes, and then I wear them in the wet mud, and then they smell awful. But then I still try to stretch a few more weeks out of them, and then I throw them in the dumpster.
Okay. All right, buddy. Hey, we appreciate you hopping on.
You guys are the best. No, enjoy it, and we'll be in touch.
Thanks, Gino. Good luck this week.
Thank you, Gino.
We hope you're not free on the weekend.
Ditto.
See you, man.
Awesome stuff. Our boy Gino Benelli, looper for Mr. Joel Damon. Love talking to Gino. We appreciate him doing that. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I'd love to bring that to you a little more often. Right now, what I'm going to bring to you is some intel on getting your ass some wine, because some of y'all need some wine. Some of y'all need to have some wine and drink some wine and sip some wine and maybe guzzle some wine. Maybe you even need to gargle some wine. And our friends at Wine Access can hook you up with that. There's a whole world of wine to discover. You know what I mean? It can be difficult to get the perfect bottle, but Wine Access takes all the guesswork out of it. I just had one, Pat, called 8 Years in the Desert, which I found appropriate as we're in the desert this week. And it's a California red I really enjoyed. Paired it with a nice New York strip and some Brussels sprouts that I made.
I've had that one. It's a good one. As a matter of fact, that's on my first Fantasy Golf Sommelier.
You're drinking?
I went deep into the tasting and the flavors of 8 Years in the Desert. Yeah.
Nice. Well, Wine Access makes it easy for everyone. If you're a beginner, if you're a connoisseur, to learn about what, the wines, what they're like, why you should like them, what's going on with them. They have a decorated team of experts with that taste over 20,000 wines a year, and only about 1 out of 18 wines make the cut. So they only select the finest, those that exceed expectations and over deliver on the price. So even if you're looking for like a $15 bottle or a triple-digit bottle, Wine Access can hook you up. Plus, if the wine fails to impress, Wine Access will credit that bottle, no questions asked. So we want you to explore the world of wine with us. Pat is doing it on his Fantasy Golf Sommelier videos on YouTube. Join him. So we worked out an exclusive offer for just our listeners, 20% off your very first order. It's a really good deal on some incredible bottles of wine. So whatever you get, 20% off. You just go to wineaccess.com/tour. The discount is applied at checkout. That is 20% off wineaccess.com/tour. We really appreciate those guys supporting us for the long haul here on the Tour Junkies podcast. So if you like us, then help us out and help out some friends of ours like Wine Access. If you like us, if you like wine, or even if you don't like wine, but you know somebody that likes some wine, then hook it up, Wine Access. Pat, let's get to some DFS plays, my friend. You ready for this? Oh, my girl Nita's drinking some wine tonight. That's
nice,
good.
Nita.
The other night she was on that tequila in a nut hut, and it was getting a little. It was getting kind of crazy. Nita was. She was giving out winners, NBA, DFS, all that stuff. DFS Trash Talk. Check it out. That's her podcast if you like a little NBA action. Pat, let's get to the picks here. 9K and above. We're going to talk 3 GPP plays and a fade in this range. Oh, man. Listen, let me tell you what I'm going to do. I don't really have a lot of stats tonight. I was inspired by Crazy Marcus. I was inspired by Kevin Na and Strokes Gain Home Life. But, I was also mostly inspired by the fact that, if Gino, if he had to, Mike could win this golf tournament. You know what I mean? If they would let him play, he might win it. This is just, they're coming out of everywhere at this event. You talked about Adam Long at 600-1, Andrew Landry at like 300-1 last year. So I'm just like, I'm going to look at a couple things. I'm going to look at form. I still like form, even though I know there's some tendency of guys not doing great, but still playing well here. But I looked at something on Fantasy National, which is where we get all of our stats, fantasynational.com/TJ for 20% off any sub. Then that's subscription, not sub sandwich. They don't sell sub sandwiches on there. But anyway, I went and looked at strokes gained ball striking at the stadium course. And I wanted to see guys who had played at least 3 or 4 rounds over the last few years. So, I mean, if you got guys making the cut, which is the goal, they're going to get 3 rounds on the stadium course. I'm kind of throwing out I don't really care to look at the Nicklaus course, honestly. I'm throwing that out. And then if you look really at just finish positions over the last few years, it's including La Quinta, only 2 rounds at the stadium. It's different. It's a different event. So I looked at strokes gained ball striking. That's strokes gained off the tee, strokes gained approach. Who checked the box there, regardless of how they finished the tournament? I don't care. So I looked at that and I looked at recent form. And then I'm going with gut value. Ownership is a big deal. Like I said, I think you should leave some money on the table if you're playing in big GPPs because of the volatility of this tournament. So there you go. Obviously, Bermuda specialist would be good as well. That Tiff Eagle Bermuda is more of your standard Bermuda. It's more grainy. That's what apparently they've switched to, according to the information that Pat dropped earlier. So that's what I'm looking at. What do you think about that, Pat? You like that?
I don't mind. I actually have a few more gut plays than I might normally have. Also, I didn't look at as much as I like to look at course history. I kind of threw a little bit of that out this week too. So
yeah,
so we'll see.
All right, I'm going to start off the 9K and above range. John Rahm has withdrawn. I don't really know why. He cited a sore back. It could be whatever. I don't think it's a big deal, but he's not playing. I'm going to go with Patrick Cantley, the next man up at 11-1. I am playing studs and duds this week. Not to say I wouldn't have a balanced lineup if I was mass entering a GPP, but if I'm playing a single entry, 3 max entries, I like the studs and duds approach. I'm more of a fan in the 7K, bottom 7K and 6K range than I was, for example, last week at the Sony, where I didn't really like anybody down there except you talked me into Doug Gim, which is one of the worst decisions I ever made. So this week, I'm playing studs and duds, and I'm going to start with Patrick Cantley. Very limited experience here at the stadium course, but it was pretty good, when he played here. Finished 13th at the Tournament of Champions. We saw him play well in the fall also. So I'm going with Patrick Cantley. And then I'm going to go with Patrick Reed. I'm going a set of Patricks. I got so many Pats in my life. I just figured, why the hell? I might as well add another one. Former winner here, 72-hole course record holder here, obviously with La Quinta in play. We saw him finish 21st at the TOC. Not great, but definitely checks a box here in terms of ball striking. And I feel like Reed's going to be a little a little overlooked. Maybe not. We'll see what happens when ownership shakes out. But I like Reed. And then at the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and eat the chalk with Abraham Answer. I do think he'll be chalky despite missing the cut last week. This is a place that I think suits up really well for him. He nearly won it last year. Should have won it last year, honestly. But missed the cut at the Sony. T17 at the Tournament of Champions. T12 at Mayakoba before that. Obviously played well at the Masters. I think Answer arrives in good form. But I think this place just sets up really nicely for him. And the missed cut means nothing to me last week. It really doesn't. So, and I do think he'll be a little chalky in that range, but I'm going to go with Answer. My fade is going to be Brooks Kefka. Brooks at 10-8. Don't love the price in terms of the value I'm going to get out of BK. First event back. Lord knows what he's been doing. You know, I mean, we talk about Joel Damon coming back after, a long layoff. We all know what Brooks has probably been doing, and it probably hadn't involved a whole lot of golf. So I see this as kind of a shaking the rust off event for him. We haven't seen him since the OHL. Where he missed the cut. So first time here as well, I don't know, maybe lacks a little bit of familiarity or experience on the golf course, and I'm just going to fade him. I don't love the value. I'd rather have Cantley. So that's the 9K range for me.
All right, so we got some disagreement here, which is nice. I like that. I'll start with where the agreement was, though, and that is Patrick Reed. He was one of my GPP plays as well, so we can both cross that one off as agreed. Where we disagree, though, is on two guys, and that is Cantley and Brooks Koepka. I actually have Brooks Koepka as one of my GPP plays. I like him this week. I think we might get him at a little bit lower owned than we have seen him. He's certainly fits the stats category that I like. He's 20th in strokes gained approach. He's 11th in greens in regulation. He putts well on Bermuda. He's top 25 in the field there. Yes, I know he missed his last cut. That's fine. He was in pretty good form actually before that. So I like Koepka this week at 10-8, and I'm going to fade.
Here we go. Hold on. With the Brooks Koepka thing, let's do this. How about in the YouTube comments, tell us where you think Brooks Koepka is going to finish. Win, T17, miscut, T28. Tell us where you think he's going to finish. If you get it right, we'll send you a piece of swag. So comment on the YouTube channel. And if a lot of people get it right, we'll pick one person. And so maybe we'll pick one person who's also adds a funny comment. So do that. We'll see what do you think about Brooks Koepka? Because obviously a lot of disagreement.
I thought you were about to challenge me for a second there on some stats or something like that. And I was like, wait a second. You just said you weren't even looking at a bunch of stats. So don't come off at the top of the show challenging me on them. But I like Koepka this week. And yeah, I think, maybe for the reasons that you said, his first event back, everybody always worries about Kefka and events that aren't majors. He gets a little bit lower ownership. And I don't like Cantley this week, actually. I think he will be a fade for me. He's 139th in the field in opportunities gained. I mentioned that as a stat. This is a scoring week. He's 81st in approach, 68th in putting on Bermuda. I think he could be a pretty good fade. And I think the ownership's going to be high as well. So he will be my fade. My other GPP play outside of Reed and Koepka is going to be Scotty Scheffler at 9,500. Now, he is a guy that we've seen in good form, played extremely well here last year, was third. The guy is just an absolute stud, a ball striking machine, par 5 scoring, checks the box there, greens in regulation. I mean, now, going back to the putting, he hasn't been too good on Bermuda, but I still like some old Scheffler at 9,500. So, there you go. Okay.
Why don't you start us off in the 8K range? 2 GPP plays and a fade.
Okay. I'm actually starting at the bottom of this range. And I think I'm not necessarily saying you could skip this entire range, but I'm not as big of a fan of this range as I am the 7K range there because there's a ton of guys there that I like. But if I'm starting with my first play that I absolutely love, and that is Sam Burns at 8,300, I think he is just, across the board, stat-wise, everything lines up for him to have a good week. He's, you look at his history here. He's played well. He was T6 last year, T18 in his first start here. And the form has also been pretty good. Now, it goes back to the Houston Open. He hasn't really played all that much since then. But it was T7 there, played really well in the fall. I like Sam Burns at 8,300, so he is my top GPP play. And also, I'm going to go with Siwoo Kim at 8,200. The guy loves him a Pete Dye course. We know that.
Yeah.
And he scares the hell out of me. But
that's what he's supposed to do.
That's what he's going to do. He's going to do that to you when you want to play him. But, had a top 25 last week at the Sony. showed some, he showed some pretty good form. I watched a lot of that tournament. It's easy to watch a lot of these West Coast tournaments because especially,
I love it
because you get just, it's so much later. And it's just easier.
Prime time golf for us East Coasters.
So I thought Siwoo looked good. So I like him at 8,200. My fade is going to be Hadwin, who has just been an absolute ridiculous course horse here. I mean,
yeah.
Let me review this. It's
he shot the 59 at La Quinta, or almost shot the 59, or maybe did he?
I mean, here's his last 4 times playing. He didn't play last year. T2, T3, second, T6. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that is incredible. All right. But you talked about it's just a different tournament this year with the fact that you only have the 2 courses. You don't get La Quinta. And he has just not been very good at all lately. When you look at the form, he's been pretty awful. And then from the stats standpoint, they're not any good as well. So I'm going to still fade Hadwin despite the incredible course history here. So there you go.
Okay. I like your Siwoo play, by the way. And also his ball striking stats at the stadium course in 4 rounds, pretty good. 17th in this field strokes gained ball striking in the 4 rounds he's played at the stadium course. So good on you for the Siwoo Kim play. All right. So we talk about having ownership leverage in DFS tournaments and GPPs. You got to have guys who are lower owned. You can find diamonds in the rough. You can find the guys in the cheap end that end up really outperforming. You can fade a big name and get some leverage there. But another thing you can do is you can overpay for players. You can pay more than you think you should, or more than you think the general public thinks you should be paying. And I think I'm going to go ahead and do that here in this 8K range with a tournament play only here for Adam Long at $8,500, previous winner here. And he's done okay. We saw him finish 3rd at the OHL, 30th at the RSM, 11th at the Houston Open. Pretty strong fall for Adam Long, but I think a lot of people are going to look at his name and the $8,500 price tag and avoid him. I could be wrong. That's just what I'm guessing. When he's there around everyone's favorite Lonto Griffin, I think Sam Burns is going to be a popular play. Siwoo Kim. So I just feel like he may go a little under the radar because of the price tag, and people aren't going to want. He's not a sexy name to pay $8,500 for. So I do like the Adam Long play there. And then I'm going to go with your boy last week, old cockbite, Brian Harmon at 8,100, who didn't play great last week, made the cut, finished 56th. But he's like top 20, top 22 in strokes gained ball striking at the stadium course here. He plays well here. This is an accuracy kind of course to me. This is you don't have to be super long. You don't have to overpower this thing. I mean, Andrew Landry, obviously, you don't have to do that. Harmon he's not that. He's a good wedge player. He's a hot putter. He's good on Bermuda. He's an accurate driver of the golf ball. So I feel like this is a good spot for him. And I like his upside. I like the value at 8,100. The fade for me is going to be a guy who's opposite of that at 8,900, Cam Champ. You're paying up for him at 8,900 on a course that you can't leverage his really, really, his skill set, which is hitting the piss out of the ball a really long way and then wedging it to death. But everybody's going to be wedging it here. It's kind of like Wiley last week. It's kind of a wedge fest. The par 5s aren't super tough to get 2 and 2 for most of the field. He can do it. But it just takes the biggest weapon out of his hand, and that's the driver. And I don't love paying up for the $8,900 price tag on Cam Champ. He was 21st here last year when he played, but he gained 2.5 strokes putting, which rarely happens for Cam Champ. Does not happen a lot for Cam Champ, gaining those strokes putting. And he only gained about 2.3 off the tee, which is actually lower than usual for him at a lot of events. And that's because he loses the weapon of the driver. So I think this is not the best place to pick Cam Champ. All right, deep breath. 7K range is full of names. Now, this is where if you're not a member of the Nut Hut, you need to be in the Nut Hut, because I can see Wednesday night's chat, actually tomorrow's chat, Thursday morning's chat, waiting for lineup lock, is going to be full of decision making between the 7K range and the 6K range, because this thing is full of names. I mean, honestly, I could feel somewhat comfortable having all 7K players in a lineup. That's how much I love this range. It's really hard for me to narrow them down. There's a lot more names in here that I like that I'm going to be able to name. We're only going to give you 3 tournament plays and a fade. But I really like this range. I think a lot of tournaments are going to be won and lost by what you do in the 7K range. So if you're not a member of the Nut Hut, go to tourjunkies.com, click on Golby's Nut Hut, and join our private member-only Discord chat for only $10 a month or $90 a year. It's that easy. It's amazing. We get inside caddy info late, usually on Wednesdays or so. We share that with the group. And we just have a lot of sharp listeners, a ton of sharp listeners, okay? If you need a quick little video on how the Nut Hut works, head over to our YouTube page. I got about a 4-minute walkthrough on how to sign up for the Nut Hut and what it looks like. Plus, we have like NFL DFS, NBA DFS. Then we have freaking hockey. We have like all kind of stuff in there I probably don't even know about that people are giving advice on and people are winning money. It's nuts. Ben gives stock advice in there. It's just an all-around banger of a time in the Nut Hut. So Golby's Nut Hut.
Really?
Check it out. Yeah, apparently he does.
I missed that.
Yeah. Oh, man. All right. What are we going to do in the 7K range?
I love this range. I love it.
I feel like, all right, this is bite me.
I wrote down in my notes, and I try to do this every week. Each range, I kind of give a little, just something. And this is just the money-making range this week.
Yeah.
That's what I...
All right, I'm going to go with one. I'm going to go with one play that I think is going to be kind of chalky and maybe expected, and then I'm going to go with two that I think are going to really give you some leverage. They're guys I like, but I may not like them like the most, but I like them enough to play them, and I think they are going to give you some leverage. The first play for me, and this is the one that I think is kind of expected and maybe a little more chalky, is our boy Sepp Straka, who I was on last week.
Yeah.
For a long hitter, Sepp plays these shorter courses really, really, really well. And now you give him a full plethora of par fives to attack. And I think it's going to be even better than his Sony finish. But he's been making cuts. He made cuts in the fall. He had a top 5 at the Houston back in the fall, T25 last week. But even here, he's played 3 rounds at the Stadium course in his career. And total in this field, he's 5th in strokes gained ball striking. So play sets up well for Straka. Love the value at 7,400. I think that's a player in this range that gives you real win equity. I said it last week on the show. I said it on Pat Mayo's show. I believe Sepp Straka wins a PGA Tour event this year. This could be one of them. So I think that's kind of the chalkier play. If I'm going to go a little less chalky, I'm thinking, and I could be wrong, I'm thinking Kevin Strielman could slip under the radar a little bit at 7,200. He's a pretty cheap play. He's got 8 rounds at the Stadium course over the last few years. That's a lot. That's probably more than anyone else in the field, according to Fantasy National, over the last 3 years, I believe, or maybe 2 years. He is 3rd in strokes gained ball striking in that term. Now, Kevin Strielman is not known to be like a tremendous ball striker. So that tells me this is a place that he really enjoys. It suits him for whatever reason. This is his first event we've seen since the OHL where he finished 32nd. But I really like the value with Strielman at 7,200. I think that's I think you can get some leverage there. And then I'm going to go back.
He fell under. You mentioned he fell under your. He might fall under the radar. He fell under my radar. I didn't even look at him. So
he's playing, huh?
I knew he was playing. I just now, obviously, but I didn't even look at him.
You're going to have some super chalk in here. I think. In danger of being chalky, you're going to have Aaron Wise, Chris Kirk after his amazing week last week, which I was really happy to see that happen. Mm-hmm. Doc Redman is going to be massive chalk. Damon could be, depending on how many people paid close attention to Gino's interview there. Brendan Steele could hop up and be some chalk. So I think there's going to be some names in here. I'm going to try to give you something different. Last week I was on this guy. He disappointed. He missed the cut, but he didn't miss it by much. And he's got a good record here, and he always plays well in the desert. $7,100, Scott Piercy. I'm giving you cheap plays in the 7K range tonight. In the strokes gained ball striking, he also has 8 recorded rounds on the Stadium course where he is 16th in this field in strokes gained ball striking at the Stadium course. Decent finish to the fall swing, but just missed the cut at the Sony. Again, maybe knocking the rust off. But Piercy loves the desert, loves desert golf, plays well here. I think Pierce sees some value at 7,100 too. And I think, honestly, all 3 of these guys give you win equity. I think every single one of them give you win equity, and they're all below 7,400 below. So that's that. My fade, and this was before talking to Gino, was going to be Joel. And I mentioned it in the Gino interview, miscut here in 2017 and 2018. He lost 4 shots in both of those rounds on strokes gained approach. The irons weren't there. Wasn't hitting it well into these greens. He's not great on Bermuda, and this is his first event off of a layoff, which we know you typically avoid. So there you go. That's my 7K range.
Okay. Well, this will be good because I'm going to talk about some different guys here than you mentioned, even though I do like some of the ones you said. But I'll start near the top here, and this is a guy that I kind of came on to later in the week last week, and that is Emiliano Grillo. I cannot quit that dude. I just can't.
I like him.
And, we've seen him in pretty good recent form, had that T8 back at the OHL. Finished top 50 last week, which was a little bit disappointing, but still, you look at the stats for him and everything else, it's just absolutely fantastic. I think this is another good course for him. I mean, now, the putting is an issue for sure, but other than that, you've got third in greens in regulation. He's top 10 in ball striking opportunities gained and strokes gained approach. I like my boy Grillo this week at 7,800. And then I'll drop down to, let's see, we'll go to Mr. Cameron Tringali at 7,400. Another guy.
Davis. Oh, I was getting goosebumps. I was getting the chicken skin.
Yeah, I try not to mention him because I always figure you might, and I don't want to just like double up.
Tall, drinking sexy Aussie water. All right, go ahead.
Love that guy. But anyway, I like some Tringali. We've seen him in good recent form. He's 15th in the field in approach, top 15 in par 5 scoring. Putts pretty well on Bermuda. So I think Tringali could be an interesting play there at 7,400. Also, now this is kind of a gut call. So we talk about making a few gut calls this week, and that is Windham Clark at 7,100. I like him this week. He played extremely well in the fall. He was top 10 or top 20 here a couple of years ago. Checks the box in par 5 scoring. He is a good putter on Bermuda. I think he can take a flyer on him. In GPPs, he's going to be super low owned. I like some.
I hate that pick.
My fade is going to be a guy that this was a guy that I think I started this week last year with him. And you may know where I'm going. I loved him all year.
I can't get past Windham Clark.
Alex Noren.
Oh, God.
Fading Alex Noren this week.
Oh, you're fading him. Okay, good. Yep. Endorse. Okay. Yeah. Well, you started that section and ended it well. The Windham Clark and Tringali, you kind of lost me.
Why do you hate Windham Clark so bad?
I mean, he's a bomber. I mean, you take the weapon out of his hand a little bit. He's so volatile. He's like a really broke ass man's Cameron Champ. Except, well, actually, no, he's a better putter. He's a really good putter. Clark's a really good putter, but I mean, he can't keep it in the yard. Okay.
I mean, he may not have to hit driver a lot on this course. He can rein it in. Anyway, I like him. We'll see. Maybe we can make a bet there. I don't know.
You got to come up with it. We got to act fast. Let's do 6K range. I'm just going to give you 3 names. There's a few in here I like, but again, that's Nut Hut info. We don't have time to go through all of them. I'm going to give you 3 in here that I like. At 6,900, I like Martin Laird. I've been on him. He just won. He's playing good right now. Finished 17th at the Tournament of Champions, which is like middle of the pack. But he got to play. Got to play in Hawaii. Shook the rust off. Not a bad record here. Not terrible. When you look at the stats at the stadium course, it's not bad. Pretty good off the tee here. Irons have lacked a little bit, but he's doing okay at the stadium course. I like Martin Laird. I think there's good value there for him. Gino mentioned this guy, Mark Hubbard. He's got 5 recorded rounds at the stadium course. He's probably top third in this field in ball striking at the stadium course over those 5 rounds, which is a pretty good. I mean, for a number of rounds at the stadium course over the last couple of years, that's actually on the top end. So he's familiar with the stadium course and does well. Finished 32nd at the Sony. This feels like a good event if Adam Long and Andrew Landry can win this event. A guy like Mark Hubbard, who found himself down the stretch at a couple tournaments last year, close with a chance to win. I think he could top 5, top 10 here, and kind of give you a really nice finish for a $6,700 guy. But my favorite guy in this range is our boy. He's been on the podcast a couple times. Or no, he's been on the podcast once. Scott Stallings at 6,600 is a really good number to me.
I looked at him also.
He likes this golf course. 6 rounds over the last couple years at the stadium course, ranks 14th in ball striking in this field over that time. Not great finishes to speak of, but he likes this course, and this place sets up really well for him. And Scott is really focused coming into this year and dedicated to playing well, and like having the best year that he's ever had out here on tour. I think he's super committed and ready to go. I know all these guys are, but I think the $6,600 tag for him, I think he got some nice upside with Scott. So I'm going to go with that guy. There's a few other names in here I like, but I can't name them all. You'll have to catch the Nut Hut. And yeah, so let's go.
All right. Well, I like the Scott Stallings play. I think that one's good. So I think that is a one that I liked. Also, going back to the well, a guy I liked last week, and he finished top 20. Now, he is $300 more than he was last week at $6,700. That is Kramer Hickok. Playing him again. I'm riding the Hickok train. I love him this week. I don't mind the little price increase at all. So I will play him. Also, like Nate Lashley at $6,400. I think he is another good. He's in good form. He's finished top 40. Yeah, well, he's finished top 40 in 3 of his last 4 events. Also finished 4th at Corrales back in the fall. So it's not bad for a guy at $6,400. And he putts extremely well on Bermuda grass. And he's got decent course history here as well. So I will play a little Nate Lashley. He could be one of my long shot bets, by the way, also.
Okay. We'll get into the bets. I will say, if I was going to, we don't do the cash picks like we used to, but if I was going to start a cash lineup, I like Reed, CH3, and Sepp Straka. I've been trying to give the people those cash locks there. Reed, CH3, and Straka. All right, Pat, let's talk some sports betting picks. We got outrights. I got a few top 20s. It's really tempting to take the mid-range and the bombs here, but who you taking if you got $100, you can make one bet. You have to make one bet to win the golf tournament. And if you lose it, you lose $100 and somebody gets to hit you in the ankle with a putter blade. Who's your one pick?
Why do I always got to go first for this?
I'll go first. Mine is Patrick Cantley. I'll go Cantley at 16-1. He's the favorite, but I really, really like Cantley this week. It was either him or Reed. It was one of the Patricks, so I'd go with Cantley. I will go with the favorite.
Okay,
now, the favorite.
For me, I think I'm going to go Patrick Reed.
I like it. Okay.
I'm a huge fan.
Both the Patricks. Let's have another little prop conversation here. Most overpriced play that you see. So EpiPens are real overpriced. You ever try to buy an EpiPen? I'm like, damn, dude, I might die if I can't get this EpiPen. You're gonna charge me $1 million for it. EpiPens are really expensive. So the EpiPen player of the week for me is going to be Mr. Matt Wolff. At 20-1, I like Matt Wolff. I do. I think he's a very talented player, but he's still pretty volatile at times. He sucks on Bermuda, but we last saw him missing the cut at the Masters. First time out, I get it. 50th at the Zozo in a limited field event, 73rd at the CJ Cup in another limited field event, which is basically he's almost pretty much dead last. Runner-up at the Shriners, runner-up at the U.S. Open. He plays well there, but he's just kind of volatile to me. And in 2 rounds at the Stadium course, it's not great. It's actually really, really bad. Approach play bad. He's kind of a Cam Champ type where you take the driver out of the hand. I think 20-1 is too much for an outright on Matt Wolff.
Yeah, I'd go Ricky Fowler.
What's he at?
I'm looking at 40-1. He might be shorter on some other books, but he gets way too much credit for whatever. He hasn't been playing good at all. You could easily
yeah, but from a win equity value standpoint, that if Ricky gets close, he could, he can close the door. It's not a major, so he can close the door if he gets close. That's just the big question. I don't know. So it's not terrible from a 40-1, 40-1. That's not bad. But I get it. All right. Well, who are your favorite? Start us off. Who's some numbers you're looking at? I mean, I don't have as many short numbers because I like the bombs here. So we may just be bombs away tonight.
Well, I got a couple of guys, and I mentioned Brooks Kefka being one of my favorite GPP plays this week in DFS, and I like the bet on him here. And Bet Rivers has him actually at 20-1, where I've seen him a little bit shorter on some other books. So I like that number at 20-1. Also at that same number is Sung J M, who we never even talked about. We didn't even talk about Sung J M.
I talked about him enough last week. I don't know. And by the way, my stripper thing was actually absolutely correct. That's what happened. He was at the strip club and he sucked. Yeah. So you guys are all welcome for that.
So now it's popping up here on the screen. So 21-1 on points bet, which is a weird number. Anyway, so I will take that. And then also one of my DFS plays, or two of them that I love, were Sam Burns. He's at 50-1. I like him, or sorry, he's at 66-1, according to Bet Rivers. And I also like Emiliano Grillo. What is he going to be? Something different.
Producer Sam is finding you the best lines possible.
He's finding me the best lines, or maybe but
he says you don't have Grillo. So whatever you say he's at.
He's 60-1 on points bet. So that is the mid-range for me. I'll let you go, and then I'll go with my longer odds guys.
I'm going to give the people a ton of value tonight. All right. I'm going to start it off with Adam Long, who I talked about in the DFS portion. Previous winner here, very confident, had a great fall. 75-1 is a solid number for Adam Long. That's a ton of value. I see that being bet down a little bit, actually. I'd bet him. I would actually bet him as short as 60, honestly. I think I would bet him 60-1 here. He loves this event. So I like him. I'm not going to go another podcast without mentioning Cam Davis. 90-1 Cam Davis, the long-hitting Australian. Now he gets 4 par 5s to deal with on each course. I love that for the Aussie Cam Davis. Now he's down to 80-1. See, damn it. I would still bet that. Kevin Strielman, who I mentioned in the DFS section, love Strielman here. Actually, tremendous ball striking at the Stadium course in the last few years. He is at 90-1 on points bet. Love that number. And then I'm gonna keep going, Pat. I'm just gonna rattle off my bombs here. Sepp Straka. I mean, I talked about him ad nauseum. The guy's gonna win. I want to be on it when he wins. The number is way too big. I think he's 100-1 on points bet. Love Sepp Straka. He's also 3.5-1 as a top 20. So I think that's where I'm going to start looking at, at my top 20 bets. So Sepp Straka there. And then I'm going to go to Mark Hubbard, he's 110-1 on points bet. He's 4-1 as a top 20 also. And then I'm going to go, let me give you two more. Scott Piercy, 125-1 at points bet. I've seen him as short as 90-1 on other books. He's 125 on points bet right now, and he's 4.5-1 as a top 20. And finally, my big bomb that I talked about in the DFS portion, our boy Scott Stallings at 250-1 is massive on points bet, and he's 7-1 as a top 20. And Scott loves this golf course, highly motivated, good ball striker, doesn't get in a ton of trouble, just needs some putts to drop. 250-1 is a nice big bomb for old Scott Stallings, the most fit man on the PGA Tour.
Okay. All right, let's try this again. See if I can get the bets right with what's going to come up on the captions there. I'm getting used to producer Sam and the new technology here, so we'll get going here. I like Cam Davis. Did you mention him?
I did. Yes, at 90-1. Yeah.
All right, so I like that. I like Charlie Hoffman. He's at 80-1. I like him as well. The guy's been, hadn't been too bad lately. I think he's
played good last week, yeah. But
yeah, I think this is a good course for him.
He hasn't played great at the Stadium course, by the way. I looked at that. I looked at him. Really bad at the Stadium course.
I didn't say he's played.
I know. I'm just telling you. I'm trying to help. I'm a friend helping a friend here. I'm just telling you. He's not. Yeah. Ball striking has not been good at the Stadium course.
You said you weren't going to take all that into account. This is a whole.
I said I was looking at ball striking on the Stadium course. That's it.
All right. Anyway, I do like him as a bet this week. Another guy I like as a bet, and only because he's going to end up being like first round leader or something, or he's going to do something good, and I never play him, so I might as well bet on him. And that's Kyle Stanley at 150-1. I'm just going to throw a bet down because, and then I'm also going to play Nate Lashley at 300-1 as well.
Man, I hate some of your bombs, and I hate some of your low 7K and 6K range. Like, we could just debate 10 players on TJ After Dark here.
What do you hate about Kyle Stanley and Nate Lashley? It's
Winning.
300 to 1.
I hate winning equity there. I don't know. I mean,
how many times has Scott Stallings won?
I don't think he's ever won. No, he's won. I think he's won once.
Has
I
Nate
still like that
Lackey-
better than Nate.
Nate
Yeah,
Lackey
Nate,
won?
yeah, he's won.
Won in the last couple years. So you can't say he doesn't have any win equity when he's won, and you're playing a 300 to 1 bet.
Okay. All right. Well, then let's go take it to TJ After Dark and get pissed off at each other. So, thanks for joining, everybody. Thank you so much. Sorry, actually, I think 3 wins. Producer Sam, 3 wins for Stallings. So take that.
Like 15 years ago.
Take that. Doesn't matter. Thank you, Producer Sam, for that fact checking.
I think that was pre him getting into shape. Actually, he needs to get in like maybe worse shape, and then he'll be better. Anyway, all right.
Yeah. I hear a gut really helps flatten out the swing. You know, now he's got the 6-pack. He's a little steeper. By the way, fun fact at the end of the show, I finally took a putting lesson. For those of you who remembered which none of you probably did, but my 2020 New Year's resolution to take a putting lesson, I never did that. But I did that just yesterday, and it was fantastic. Great results already. So I did that. Pat, any other news for you? What's anything else in your life people need to know about?
No, I don't believe so. I mean, there's a lot of things they don't need to know about, but not anything they do need to know about.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll be in the Nut Hut chat on Wednesday night. That was a lot of fun last week. Don't forget, Chalk Bomb email hits your inbox on Wednesday. Pat's Fantasy Golf Sommelier video drops on Tuesday night or Wednesday. Ben's head-to-head matchups, top 20 betting video on YouTube drops Tuesday night or Wednesday as well. My betting card, the Monkey Knife Fight prop. Do not forget to get that Monkey Knife Fight prop ASAP before the line moves, okay? ASAP. All right? Thanks, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of it on YouTube if you're watching live. Don't forget to comment where you think Brooks Koepka is going to finish. You know, tell us what's going to happen. T5, win, miscut, T17. You tell us, and somebody's going to get some free swag. Pat, enjoyed it. We'll be back next week for Farmers. Is it the Farmers next week? I think it's the Farmers. All right. Check out tourjunkies.com. Check out the YouTube channel. Have a great week. May your screens be green. See ya. Out.